I'm going to reveal to you my marketing secret that made me over $350 million.
Growing up and getting into this business, you always told me there are two main things that made your business a major success. One of them was the product itself, how it's one of the greatest products in the world, and there's nothing else like it anywhere else. Number two was your marketing. So let's hear the marketing secrets that made you so successful.
So you want to hear my secrets that made me over $350 million.
Let's hear it.
Wow. Okay, I guess today I'm going to reveal it then. Okay, I haven't done this before, but here we go. First, today I hear all about pain points, right? Isn't that what we always hear? Pain points. Well, in my day, I just called it needs, people's needs. And I said, you must find larger and larger common denominator needs, common denominator of needs out there. And the larger the common denominator is, the more successful you can be if you tap into that need, that market, or what today they call pain points. That's fairly well known, I'd say. There's nothing particularly secret about that other than being wise enough and experienced enough to know what you're going after, and that's common denominator needs or pain points. One of the largest common denominator needs are what I call forces of nature. This is not yet my secret. This is, I think it's for the most successful marketers, I think these are fairly well known. Forces of nature, you always hear things like sex sells. Well, why does sex sell? Because propagation of the species is a force of nature.
So down to the biology.
Correct. Down to biology. Or instant gratification. I want to get rich quick because the human being, all animals, were designed to get the maximum caloric intake that was possible. So the same thing goes with money and anything else. You want to get the maximum as quickly as possible.
Right. So to conserve calorie expenditure,
That's right.
it's, you want to get the most reward for the least effort.
Right. And that's one of the reasons so many people are so unhealthy today. Sugar's in everything because you get the greatest amount of caloric intake in the quickest time possible, whether it's cereals full of sugar or carbohydrates or desserts. That's why we have an obesity problem in this country. Well, that's another whole subject in itself, but that is a force of nature. Get rich quick is a force of nature. Popularity, because in nature, the more popular ones were more successful, more chance of survival in your tribe. So everything is based on these forces of nature, which reduce down the survival pressures underneath it all. So beginners, entrepreneurs may not know that explicitly, but those who have become very successful know that explicitly. So this is just another bit of information for those of you starting a business. Be aware of the forces of nature and the need to bring that into your marketing. These are very, very large common denominator needs, are these forces of nature. So sex sells, instant gratification, popularity. That's why you see social media going crazy today. Everyone wants to be popular, right? That all stems back to the forces of nature. It all stems back to survival pressures.
Mm-hmm.
Our diet, which is not that healthy, but you see advertisements selling all kinds of junk food, I call it, and I hopefully that will start changing in America. So those are forces of nature. So people starting a business or people in business, be very aware of forces of nature. Be very aware of common denominator needs, and forces of nature are some of your largest common denominator needs.
And so understanding that explicitly really changes how you see, marketing and your messaging as well. So, and those forces in nature, it seems like what you're saying is they come down to like they're in your DNA.
Yes.
And and so, while saying, get rich quick, that sounds good. Or wait, let me let me rephrase that. So a get rich quick statement. Um, as a marketer, you understand people are attracted to that, but
It's a
but
force
the
of
question,
nature.
right?
It's a
But
force of nature for survival.
So you're saying the forces of nature really come down to your biology in your DNA. And that's what makes them so powerful because it's not just, it's not just something that sounds good, but it's actually linked to survival and it's coded in people's DNA from when humans were, in hunter gatherer days, lived in tribes and clans and things like that.
Absolutely. And I think how people are starving for attention. And that goes back to, like you're saying, to our survival pressures, hunter gathering days in our tribes. And the more attention you got, the more chance you had of surviving within that tribe, of being propped up and taken better care of. And in days of starvation, when you're going through a tough time, you'd be more likely to be fed than some of the others if you were more popular, more loved. So that's why we have such an addiction to social media now as well. Now, so think about that. If you can design or slant your product to answer that great desire in people for more attention, for example, let's just throw something out there. Let's say there's something that makes your teeth shinier and brighter. Well, there's more attention associated with that. Or something that you see ads all over. Get rid of the what do you call these things under your eyes? Pockets? Bags under your eyes. It gets you more attention, gets you second looks, makes you feel younger, more appealing, right? So these are all linked back to the forces of nature. So if you keep that in mind, whether it's attention, whether it's wealth, whether it's popularity, whether it's food itself, if you always think in terms of forces of nature, that will help shape and slant your marketing. So let's say, let's take an example. Let's say you own a gym and you want to advertise. Now, let me ask you, which would be the better advertising approach? Show all your weights in the gym. Say you have a television commercial, a 60-second spot, and say, if you work out diligently hard every day for 2 hours a day, you can get a body like this. Or would it be more effective to just show a gym with very sexy women, very sexy men, working out and talking and socializing, having a good time, throwing a towel over their shoulder, looking good, looking cool and collected? Which one do you think would do better? The one where you have to work your butt off to get a body like that, or the one where you're just seeing all these beautiful bodies and socializing and a tribe right there in the gym? Which one would do better?
The second one, of course.
Absolutely, because you're appealing, you're slanting the advertisement to the forces of nature. So if you aren't aware of the forces of nature, you're fighting an uphill battle. If you're aware of them, you're going downhill because you're coasting because you're doing it right. So if you're aware of the forces of nature in your advertisement, you're going to make a lot more money. If not, you're going to leave a lot of money on the table.
Backing up for a sec, when I said ad number 2 would work better, I mean, obviously I felt that, but explain why that would work better.
Sure. Well, number 1, get something for nothing. Least amount of calories for the energy spent, right? So if you're showing someone working out and you're telling them you have to work out so hard for 2 hours every day to get a body like this, well, that's a lot of hard work.
Sounds like too much effort.
Exactly. Now, if you show it the other way, you don't show them working hard at all. You still show them socializing, have a good time, smile, not sweating, great bodies, throw the towel over their shoulder and just looking good. Well, you're implying you can get a great body like this with not much effort at all. In fact, you even get the fringe benefit of having potential, romantic relationships.
Why are you laughing?
Well, that's all part of the forces of nature, right? Propagation of the species, right?
Right. Okay.
You see how this works? You need to slant and tilt your marketing, not necessarily to exactly what is required, but more as to what forces of nature you can appeal to.
And what outcome they could get.
Yes.
Is there a threshold of being unethical or not realistic?
I mean, you have to use your judgment on that. One thing in any product, always offer a substantial time period to get a full and complete refund. because that will remove some of the any of the questioning of your legitimacy or your intentions. You're not out to take people's money unethically and then not return money if they're not satisfied. So every product must be backed by a full and complete refund policy.
So basically what you're saying is your product needs to deliver the actual value.
Correct.
Otherwise, that's just fraud.
Correct.
And either you'll go bankrupt by giving so many refunds,
Yes.
or you'll have to make a product so good to match, your marketing and your promises and the money that they spend.
Right. And keep in mind, too, people, they subconsciously understand what you're offering them. If you're showing a lot of nice bodies, standing around, socializing, having a great time in this amazing gym, people know that they can't just come in and chat and get a great body. They understand. But you want to appeal, again, you must appeal to the forces of nature to connect. That's how you connect with people. That's what motivates them to write out that check or to pay that credit card or to drive to your gym and sign up. The forces of nature are what motivate them to do so. And by the way, I know you have a question here for me, but I am going to say that everything I've told you up till now is pretty much what the top marketers in the world already know. But there's something none of them know that I know, and that's why, as just a one-man business, not backed by a huge publishing company, just on my own, I sold over $350 million of my book, is for what I'm going to tell you next. Go ahead.
Well, what is that?
You ready? All right. So the top marketers in the world, they know about common denominators. Nowadays, they call them pain points. They know about the forces of nature explicitly. Those who aren't at the top rungs of marketing don't maybe implicitly understand about the force of nature, but not explicitly. But there's something that no one out there understands except for myself. And I'm going to let all of you now know. It's going to be public now. This is the largest common denominator on planet Earth, and it always has been the largest common denominator. And I've tapped into it. I've tapped into this common denominator. Not only is it the largest common denominator, but it's also, in today's term, we'll say the greatest pain point. It's the greatest need of any product in existence. So here it is. We have to turn back time. We have to turn back time to when we were young, in our youth. And when we were young, we saw the world differently than we do as an adult. We saw the world, and many of us have forgotten this. Many of us have forgotten, but with the right marketing, with my marketing techniques, I reawaken the child of the past and everyone who received a personal invitation into my private club. That's how I've sold over 3 million of my books at an average price of $150 a book, by resurrecting the child of the past within each individual on planet Earth. When I find the searchers of the world, which I go through a very elaborate process to find those who are still searching, because those are the people that the child of the past within is still breathing, is still alive, and can be resurrected.
What is the child of the past?
The child of the past is the person when you were young, in your youth, the way you viewed the world with excitement and wonder for what's ahead. And we all know, well, maybe we don't all know, but the searchers among us know that we were looking for something more than what we are experiencing now. We know there's something more to life. We just don't know where it is or how to find it. And that's why I say I have spent my life searching for the searchers of the world. I've had over 2 million people in my private club, the NeoThink Club. Each person was personally invited by a letter from me. It's a very unique marketing approach that the world has never seen. And I have studied top marketers throughout the world, and no marketer, to my knowledge, aside from myself, is aware of awakening the child of the past. And every person has that child of wonder and excitement about the future, what their life would hold for them. But then as they're an adult, that life doesn't fulfill what they once believed it would be. And the searches of the world haven't lost that child of the past. It's still in them. And I find those people, I send them a letter, and I invite them into my private club. Over 2 million people in my private club, and it's through my secret marketing trademark, my technique, and that is finding and reawakening that child of the past. Because I show people that they can have that greater expectation that they once held as in their youth about their life. And their life is going by, and it goes by fast. And at my age, it goes by faster than it does at your age. So life goes by fast, and people are running out of time to fulfill those dreams that they once had in their youth. So my secret ingredient, my secret to my success has been my ability to go inside, reawaken that child of the past that resigned years ago in this world of stagnation, in this anti-civilization, in their stagnation traps at work, just going to work and doing the same set responsibilities day after day. Well, that may be great for a year or two, but then after 5, 10, 15, 20 years, basically your life is just passing by, and you're just getting older, and you're losing out on the life you once dreamed of. I've learned how to reach those people. That's my marketing secret, and I'm willing to teach it to you. This is my marketing secret that I've cultivated over the past 45 years. No one else knows how to do this. No other marketers do. I will teach you, I will show you how to awaken the child of the past and your potential customers. Just go to the link below, sign up for my free newsletter, and we'll get started.